doesn't burn as quick. You know how things get hot and smoky when you're cooking. It doesn't burn as quick as regular olive oil. So so I'm grateful. Last night I cooked some salmon, a yam, and some sauteed spinach, and it was extremely good. Good. So I am grateful. I seasoned that bad boy just right. Hey, who just came in? Let's see who just came in. uh, Grateful for you, Pastor Joe. Oh, Sookie, We can really go at it today. We got the man himself. I'm so grateful for every one of you. Let's just pray. Father, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for another season, another day. This is the day that you've made, and we are determined to rejoice and be glad in it. We're grateful for the opportunity to come into your presence. Grateful for your power, your might. Thank you for everyone that will listen and everyone that is listening currently right now, and everyone that will listen and will continue to listen. We thank you for being the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Now, make us one as we focus in on ourselves today. That's the objective, is to hear ourselves, no one else, and to also get more information concerning our family system, and all that we come into contact. We give you glory. And I ask this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. We're going back into it. This past week, I had several people, believe it or not, inbox me and thanked me for this particular session or sessions part 2. We were dealing with how to identify and to handle, hey, Marshana, how to identify and to handle problematic people, whether it's in ourselves, whether we're problematic, and whether it's around someone or on someone that is close to us. It is challenging. And I'm talking those who are wise at what they do. Their competencies are real, and they are smart enough, right, to identify, or not so much identify, but they're not challenged with Alzheimer's or dementia or any level of retardation. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who are competent, but still yet have unresolved issues. And so the problematic issues are real in our family. Those 3 systems that we talk about, those 3 levels of people that we deal with, be it within ourselves. First, we deal with the family settings, family and friends, close family and friends. That's a group, that's a tribe, that's a clan. You know, that's your people, right? And then you have your work group, which is a sort of somewhat similar to a family setting, because you have people that you see daily, you see weekly, you see bi-weekly, or you may work virtually with, but their personalities there, their conflicting interests there, right? So you have those, or it could be, depending on how you are as a person. There's some people in this room and people in life who get along with everybody, no conflict, but you see the conflict in them. You see it. There are introverted people who don't bother anybody, who have family, work family, and then church family, right? So all 3 of those groups, or whatever faith you are ascribing to, and so all 3 of those groups have challenges, have emotional and mental challenges. Yes, they do. And you're a part of that group. So that means you can be challenging yourself, or may or may not be. So, but we were talking about problematic people who have struggles or undiagnosed challenges in them, right? That they don't see, and or you may be that as a spouse, where you've heard it before, where you're challenged with your behavior, challenged with your ways, challenged with your responses, challenged with how you react. What does that look like? How you communicate, right? Your communicational styles, you're challenged with it. And so this past Monday, we dealt with how to deal with the conflict within yourself, right? How to deal with the conflict that you've recognized, right? And or you don't know, right? So we often tell you that many times we've learned to eat the meat, spit out the bones, because that doesn't apply to us. That's not us. That's them. She, he, they got the problem and not me. And that may be very well true. So I still don't believe in eating a meat. Hey, KP, how you doing? And spitting out the bones. I do believe that we should eat it all. We should have it all in our arsenal, have it all in our database, so that we can identify it, because we never know if that situation is going to become near and dear to us. We just don't know. So having the information and the knowledge and being able to recognize it is so vitally important to our peace. All right. So we're dealing with problematic people, beginning in oneself and in others, part 2. Right. So so one of the definitions that we looked at is to recognize the problematic behavior in ourself. We must first develop a strong sense of self-awareness. We must develop a strong sense of self-awareness by reflecting on our actions and their effects they have on other people. Now, it is challenging because I do sense that at times we are around people who are extremely selfish. And it's not so much that they're extremely narcissistic, because I think to become narcissistic is it takes a lot to become that. It takes a lot of time for someone to develop into a complete whole narcissistic person. It does. And we throw that word around like it's just easy. Like, oh, she's narcissistic. Oh, he's selfish. We throw that word around extremely easy. We throw it around like it's just easy to become narcissistic. And I don't believe that it is. I just don't. And when you understand the full developmental part of narcissism, it's just like at times past, I've debated with someone and who like, oh, they're reprobate mind. I'm like, I don't think that is easy to become neither. I think that there's a lot of grace with becoming reprobated. There's a lot of grace, right? But there are people who are selfish, but yet still caring and still giving. They'll give you the last chicken wing. Y'all remember that movie? I forgot what movie it was. Brothers or anyway, that's what one of the mothers told her daughter or her lady friend. If he can give you the last chicken wing, he's the one, right? Anyway, so I do believe it takes a process to become narcissistic. I do understand it. I do, but narcissistic old people who are just extremely and to the extreme and have that personality disorder. It's not a mental disorder, narcissism. I think that it takes a lot, a whole lot. And now I'm not saying that they're not selfish. They're not one-sided. I'm not saying that your relationship or relationships are not isn't lopsided, but I am saying, however, as you come on, please hit that share button on our social media page. I'm saying that it takes more than just the fact that, you know, they've been kind of sort of selfish in a lot of ways, and it just takes more. That's what I believe. So, but in order for you to see if you are problematic, you have to give yourself this grace to monitor you and to develop a strong self-awareness by reflecting on your actions, how you treated someone or how you responded, your actions that has affected others, that have caused someone to shy back or not deal with you, not respond back to you. And I'm not talking about a once that happened every now and then. I'm talking about this is ongoing. When have you ever sat in the car 20 minutes before you went in the house? Have you ever like had to get your mind ready to deal with someone? Have you ever had to? Yeah, it's because you know you're going into something that is sensitive, and that's okay, right? So there, not so much just that, but there are people who don't talk to you anymore. There are people who don't want to go around you anymore, and or there are people you don't want to go around anymore. There are people you don't talk to anymore because you already know that they're going to be defensive, offensive, or they're set in their way. So that's a problem. That's something that is going on in them that's causing you, the individual person, to have to become conscious enough not to want to deal with or to adjust to them, because there are some folk in the room who have the ability to still deal with people who are complicated or who are problematic, right? So when you are honest with yourself, you are now ready to have your own self assessment, which is very, very uncomfortable, but it is key to your personal growth and development. It is so key to your personal growth and your personal development. Now, we're not talking about them. Now, I did cover other people in this particular opening statement. However, this is always geared toward you. How do you manage your peace? This is what peace look like. When you can deal with you, this is what peace look like, right? So you're able to confront you. So we dealt with a couple of things. We went over number one, you have to observe how others react to you. I'm just going to have a brief summary of what we did, a brief, what do you call it? Not overview, but a recap. That's it. A recap of what we already went over. Observe how others react to you. You're paying attention to how people close to you behave. That's important. You want to see how they behave, and you can tell when someone is just tolerating you. You don't want to just be tolerated. You do not want to just be tolerated. We want to deal with what's going on in you. And so that comes with self-confrontation. So it's very, 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 let me tell you this, is very uncomfortable. Now, I'm speaking as someone who had conquered that, and I'm still conquering it. Woo! You can tell me it was tough. I didn't realize how reactory I was, how I was, ooh, some people I didn't deal with it. I didn't talk to them face to face after I was feeling a certain way after I left them, and that burnt me. That really, really, that was manifesting in me, and I was angry. But now I dealt with that recently. Watch this, where I was disappointed with how someone handled me. So I slept on it overnight. I processed it overnight. And guess what I did? I talked to them about it overnight, and I told them how I felt. So now there are no blurred lines. I got it out. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't, did not feel good, but I was able to share. And so were they. So were they. And we talked to you about how when iron sharpens iron, right? That is a clash. That is not a pretty encounter. We quote that, we throw scriptures around, and that's just not for men sharpening men. This is for women sharpening women. This is for a brother sharpening a brother, a sister sharpening a sister, or a sister sharpening a brother. This is when two minds clash and you have the better of both. This is for married couples. There's a lot of iron. This is for prospective engaged couples. It's two particular particles clashing. It's a clash. Y'all see what I'm doing? This is a clash. It's when two pieces of iron sharpen. So if these were two rocks and I'm hitting them, there's going to be some sparks going on. There's going to be some things chipping. It's gonna hurt. But if I had two knives right here, there has to be the friction. You cannot sharpen anybody without friction. You cannot have any level of growth without friction. There will be friction. It's just going to happen. I don't care how sensitive someone is. Do y'all hear that in the Zoom room? That's when iron sharp. And granted, iron is made from from a lot of from sand and all. There's a process in making iron. I do understand that. But this is what's going on in many of your lives. right now with your spouses, with your siblings. This is what's going on internally. This is what's going on at times with our purpose versus our character. Character is being sharpened because you still making it about you, taking shortcuts, not telling all the truth. Integrity being sharpened. It's a clash. It is a clash, and it does not feel good. It does. And Asia, Pastor Joe, KP, Lamisha, Ajana, it does not feel good. The clashing of minds, the clashing of personalities, the clashing of opinions, the clashing of perspectives, the clashing of which way we should go, how we should go, the clashing of how you are, the clashing of traumas. What do you do when traumas clash? There's still a sharpening going on. There's friction. There's sparks going on. It is because it's a clashing. So anytime you are dedicated to healing, anytime you are dedicated to moving forward, anytime you're dedicated to growth, you must, and I must, we must allow the clashing in a healthy way, right? Because there are times when someone comes to talk to you about your problematic way, or your problematic response, or your problematic responses, is something unhealed, something that's not healed in that person, in you, in me, in us. All right. So it's important for us to understand that how others observe us, how others deal with us, we must pay attention to it. Do friends and family tend to avoid us, avoid you? Right? Do they walk on eggshells? We talked about that. Second thing, we talked about how to listen to constructive critique. I didn't say criticism. I like critique because critiquing is a real thing. It is helping someone to be tweeted, to tweet or to adjust, to pivot, right? So it's dealing with that particular aspect of, can we listen to somebody construct, not destructive critique, but the constructive, right? And sometimes there is some deconstruction going on because what you built, what I built, what the individual built may not be right. So sometimes you have to take stuff apart just to reconstruct it. Sometimes it has to be broken down and given that grace for for someone to share with you why this bothers them, why this is challenging to the relationship is so important. You, the individual, I had to give grace to that. Now, again, I'm not teaching this from an unhealthy place. I'm teaching this from a place of what I've done and will continue to do. It is uncomfortable listening to constructive critique or any level of critique. There you go again. There's a sharpening, there's a reasoning, especially if you love that person and they love you, right? So the challenge now then becomes, there is a challenge. Even though you've given space and grace, there's still a part of you that still see all their flaws. You see the person's flaws. Oh, God, that is so tough. Can anyone relate to that? Can anyone relate to you still see that person's flaws? And you're like, that, how in the heaven are they giving me, saying anything about me when they got this, that, and the other going on currently? Can anyone relate to that? Talk back to me. You can open up the mic. I'll listen to you. Anyone in our Zoom room, can you relate? How do you still manage to listen to that person, that brother, that sister, that husband, that wife, that boyfriend, that girlfriend, whoever it is, when you like, it ain't the pot calling the kettle black, and that's the challenging part. This is very challenging in many of our clans, many of our groups, many with family and friends. It's challenging listening to somebody who's extremely flawed critique us. I'll buy an amen right now. I mean, really, I'll just I'll cash app you. Either give me a cash app. I just need someone who can relate to what I'm saying. how it's just challenging listening to somebody who is the culprit. You're living with you're in a relationship with somebody. You're there, and you know they have their fair share of issues and complications. You know it, and it's challenging, right? This is a real thing, right? So the question is, how do you deal with it? How do you handle
Know it, and it's
that
challenging,
aspect? How
right?
do you
This
how
is a
how
real.
how do you deal with it? Right? Hey, good morning, Cheryl. Good morning. Good morning. All right. All right. We got some people watching and both and all of these particular platforms. And so I'm grateful for it. So when we deal with problematic people, a problematic person in ourselves, because we can be quite problematic and not know it, right? We can have all of these things on our mind, and that part of softness or gentleness slips away. And don't get me wrong, there's some people you got to be firm with and stern with, because they are legitimately, and they can legitimately try to level best to play you, right? So we dealt with observe others, how they react to you, number one. Number two was listening to the ability to listen to constructive criticism. This is tough because there's an urge to resist almost immediately, to become defensive. It is. This process takes time. It takes time to listen to someone else's perspective and see it from their view, and then monitor their patterns, their consistencies. Their consistencies is real. So, just like it took time for you to become that way, it's going to take time for you to unlearn how not to be that way. It's going to take time for us individually to unlearn, right? Unlearn. Let me pause here to consider what that means. What does it mean to unlearn? What does that mean to unlearn, to come out of that behavior? First of all, I can't let it go that you have to see you in this process. And seeing comes with hearing what's being said about you. It is very uncomfortable. I promise you. But if you can stick through this, if you can stick through this process of giving the person or persons that you are close to the grace to share their perspective, their view, their commentary on how you feel about, or how they feel rather about you, it's going to bless you. It really is going to help you, even if it's still off to some degree. Sitting in the sucky place is necessary for the process of you eventually getting to see you. You hearing you seeing your part, you seeing what's going on in you. That is a scary process. It's going to mean, it means to consciously discard, forget, or lose knowledge of. This is what it means to unlearn. To unlearn beliefs or habits that were previously learned. Took you years to become that way. It's taking you years to build this up. It involves actively putting aside established ways of thinking, acting, especially when they are considered false, outdated, or binding, rather than simply forgetting passively. It's going to take a conscious effort to forget, to discard, or to lose that level of intelligence on that, or watch this, or to update, or you may be applying it wrong. May have good information, about yourself. See, early on in our sessions, KP, we were really concentrating on locating you, the individual, locating your emotions. We talked about the emotional responses. We took time at identifying what's going on in you, the individual person, because of your responses, your reactions. We took the onus off of the other person, off of your wife, off of your husband, if you are married, off of your fiance, him or her, if you are engaged or looking to take it to the next level, off of your siblings, if you have blood brothers and sisters or a step brother and sisters, if off of your brothers and sisters in the kingdom, off of people who you work with, the class. Well, your responses, your inner response was important to that. We spend a lot of time on how you respond, and many times we can feel that people are getting away with murder. I have to stand my ground. I'm not going to allow them to this, that, or the other to me. And so, and that's real, and that's okay. However, resorting back to unlearning a habit or seeing yourself, that is important. This is important to your health and your healing. It is vitally important to you. This session is about you. This is not about her, him, or them. I can't stress this enough. Unlearning means that you are making a conscious decision to disregard, to set aside, to watch this, to actually see it and know that you're doing it wrong. Admit that you have been the culprit when it comes to how you respond, how you react. Now you're saying, okay, I can see why they respond this way. I can see why she says this. I can see why he says this. I can see why. And there are times your reasoning for doing it may be justifiable, may or may not be. Or your reasoning can sound like an excuse or justification. This is a legitimate issue that go on in our lives. These are real levels, right? So you, the individual person, watch this. You have observed how others react to you. You are good with constructive critique, or you have to allow that. And then the third thing we want to go into today, that was my introduction. Jeez. My third thing we want to go into today, Ron, Pastor Joel, KP, is how to evaluate your contribution to the conflict. What are you adding to the fire? What did you bring to it? What are you doing or not doing enough of? Or what are you doing too much of? What are you doing that aids to a problematic response or a problematic behavior? What are you doing? Are you constantly playing the victim? Do they constantly play the victim? That's a question. I'm taking my time here because this is real. This is where the deflecting and the projecting comes in, right? Do we shift the blame? Or do we refuse to apologize? Are you one that says, I apologized enough, I'm not apologizing no more? I always got to take the bigger route. I'm always the one doing it. They never own their stuff. And you may very well be around someone who will never admit or earn or learn or never apologize. They refuse. They refuse to. This is a real occurrence. This goes on. This is a real occurrence. Because problematic behavior can involve an inability to take responsibility. You may be around somebody who's don't know how to take responsibility for their part in the argument or disagreement. You may very well be around someone who has that on them, who don't know how to own them, how they are. Or you may be that way. So much trauma has not been dealt with. There's grace in this moment. I speak grace to you. I'm coming at this and approaching this moment very carefully and delicately. I am. Because these are real moments in someone's life. These are real things. Can you say I'm wrong? Can you admit it and then allow the critique in, allow the healing in, allow their voice in? There's someone who even challenged with the person's voice. I don't want to hear their voice. These are real things. I don't even want to hear their voice. I can't. I can't stand, because you can like really be disappointed with someone. It doesn't mean you don't love them. But this part of shifting the blame, this part of owning is important. And we're not apologizing just to fast forward the person or fast forward the relationship, fast forward the moment. Because sometimes that's how some people apologize. They apologize to fast forward the moment. So evaluate your contribution, your part to the conflict. We're dealing with problematic. That problematic person is real. I don't care what nobody say. That conflict in him or her is real. I don't have time to deal with medications and because that is mental. Yeah, medications really help if that person is in need of it. It really helps, right? It doesn't help solve the problem that's going on in the internal conflict, but that is certainly it certainly adds another level of how can I say it? Another level of helping to ease the tension that's going on in them, right? All right. So do we notice patterns of inconsistency? What does that look like when you are giving someone the opportunity to to resolve the issue within yourself? Or are you noticing the importance? Rather, not are you? It's important to notice the patterns of inconsistency. To evaluate. So watch this. Evaluate if you frequently break promises, cancel plans. If you're a promise breaker, or if you cancel plans at the last minute, or are only available to people when it's convenient for you. This is problematic. This kind of inconsistency can damage trust and lead to low expectations from others. When you are like this, I promise you, it damages trust. Yeah, when someone is constantly shifting, last minute, don't want to do, bigged you up, had you all pumped up for it, there's some problems going on in them that has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. Again, when someone can't keep their word, they have problematic issues. So this is why I told you we're going to eat it all. We're not spitting out no bones. The bones are on the plate. Don't throw them out. We're going to deal with it all. We have to confront this. We have to confront this on how you manage a problematic person, how you identify a problematic person. Your expectations are automatically low. We have people in our lives like that. We have people in our workplace like that. People in our church place like that. Church space, workspace, family and friend space that we understand. We are approaching this now because we're dealing with where the rubber meets the road. And then there's some people who have the grace to still deal with a problematic person and you're still there. You're still in the cut with them, still in the trenches with them. Break plans. Breaking a plan may, lower your expectations when they stop doing a particular thing. That's problematic. And yet you're still there. You're still expected to do, but they're not. Any level of comfort or care, any level of attention. This is why, we talk about God being who he is, because he ain't like us. We'll cut somebody off in a minute. We'll stop the flow of something in a minute. But seeing these consistent patterns and not dealing with it in you is vitally important. Is vitally important. Are you the one that's problematic, or do you have problematic? Are you in a problematic circumstance? Are you in a problematic relationship? Is the conflict that's going on, is it in them or is it in you? This is why we are here, so that we can identify it, so that we can unlearn, so that we can be critiqued without being broken down and discarded. Can I trust you with my emotions? Can I trust you with, those seated, real deep parts of me? Can I trust you? Can you be trusted? Maybe that's what your brother, sister, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, co-worker is asking. Can I really trust you? Am I safe? Is this a safe space for me to break down? Is this a safe space for me to let you in? Is this a safe space? That's all I need to know. Is this a safe space? Can I become unglued? You want me to let you in, but when I get in, are you going to record this? Is this going to come up again? Is anything I say can and will be used against me? And you may be around somebody who don't have that capacity to do it. They don't have the capability of, and that's okay. So we know not to give them that. We know. All right. So when we talk about problematic behavior, is it within yourself, or can you identify it in somebody else? I think it's easy to identify it in others more than it is easy to identify it in ourselves. I really believe that. It's so easy to break someone else's challenges down. It's so easy to deal with somebody else's mental or habits or responses, or it's so easy to even diagnose somebody, because we'll call somebody crazy in a minute. We'll call somebody selfish in a minute. And for good reason, because the patterns are consistent, right? Their inability to listen and to consider your view, your world, your perspective is consistent, right? You've taken the time to see their consistent emotional responses. Then there's a need for control. Okay, when people, watch this, do not examine their emotional responses, do you, or they don't examine their emotional responses, right? It becomes problematic. It becomes, are you the yeller? Are you the yeller? Are you the one that gets loud? Are you the screamer? Do you stomp out and slam the doors? Are you that woman that just go crazy? That mother? Are you that one? You can yell. Now, listen, because introverted people yell. people yell without using their voice. You can be loud with your silent responses. Yes. And when I'm talking about I'm talking about yelling. I ain't talking about raising your voice. Because some folk exaggerate, but say folk raise their voice and they call it yelling. That's not yelling to me. When someone gets a little passionate about how they feel, that's not yelling to me. Yelling is when you're screaming loud. I disagree. When someone is passionate about what they're feeling, to some degree, I passionate because either they are hyped, or they may raise their tone. Their tone may change because of the passion, because of the voice that's not heard, because of the part of them that's not heard. So I don't really believe. I'm talking screaming. There's screamers around, verbally loud, like volume all the way up. That, because that get nothing done. That does not move anything at all, right? Because sometimes people who are passionate, their passion can be mistaken, totally be mistaken as them screaming or being loud. And I get it. I do understand it. So now they're forced to go at it a different way. But the unfortunate part about it, at times, there's no way you can deal with somebody. No, however you fry it, dice it, boil it, bake it, fry it, however it comes, it can be challenging. It can be challenging. It can still be mistaken. I got it, but I took it wrong. Right? So that part is a real. And let me go back to that piece about what we're saying, because you can be quiet in yelling. Some people yell with their body language. Scream. Your body language screams disappointment. Your body language screams, I don't like this. And then some folk have mastered their responses that you can't read them. They got poker bodies, poker faces. They're stealth. They're not, you can't tell. These are real responses too. But it does not mean that you're not loud. You're not being objective. It does not mean that you're not being cynical or sarcastic with your ways. Does not mean it. Because some folk, I've been in situations where antagonistic words were coming out of their mouth, antagonistic body languages was being seen. And so I can relate to both sides. I can. That's why I can call it out, because I've been there, done that, got a t-shirt, bumper sticker, and a coffee mug. So problematic is identifying what's going on in you. It's not about them, right? Do we examine our emotional responses? And many times our emotional responses stems from unresolved issues. I can't say it enough. And the inability to regulate our emotions, the inability to bring it under control, right? So if we overreact in any way, there's no grace. God, this is so good. I've been there. So I'm teaching this from this. We have to identify it, right? We have to identify it. Have to identify it. Do we use our mood swings to manipulate? That's the question. Do we use a tantrum to manipulate? Or do you use kindness to manipulate? Because kindness can be a fake tool. can be a fake bait. Now, I'm not talking about, kindness in the respect to de-escalate, because sometimes that's what has to happen. But why do you have to be de-escalated all the time? Why? Why do I? Why do we have to de-escalate? Why do we have to be debriefed or de-escalated? Why? 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 That's the $100,000 question. If you are one that has to be de-escalated time and time and time again, that calls for self-response, self-containment. I get the reason why you walk away, so that you don't have an oil spill or a gas spill. You want to contain you. I get it. But while you're containing you, go inside and deal with you. Go inside and deal with you. I get it. When there's a tractor trailer spill of any sort on the highway, on the street, the first responders, the firefighters, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is going to come in and conceal that hole. There's no one who is unauthorized coming in or out of that particular area. You got to have authorization. You have to be authorized to come into that area. They have to contain whatever might get leaked out. They have to contain it. It's what firefighters do with big fires. They have to contain it. They set up parameters, and if you're unauthorized to come in, you're not getting in. What are you doing to debunk you? All right, you avoided the argument, you avoided the blow up. Now you're sitting in your car, sitting in another part of the house. I like this because now you're forced to deal with you. This may be the first time for someone to see it in this angle. You can't bring them back in, or the person or persons you have the conflict with, to help debunk that. No, this is now you dealing with you. Why are you so flammable? Why are you combustible? What's going on? Unresolved, unrestrained, unregulated emotions. Unregulated. Or are you a control freak? I'll close and end with this, because this is a big one. Do you feel an excessive need to control the outcomes of the situation or the person, place, or thing? Do you feel the need to control the outcome of that person? It's my way or no way. Are you do you have manipulative behaviors? Are you manipulating? Do you gaslight? Do you guilt trip? Are you constantly correcting things? These are toxic traits. These are some toxic traits. Do you need to control? Is there a need to control everything? Everything. See, we're not talking about this on Sunday morning when the preacher give you the text, and my subject is tell your neighbor, nah. And we're breaking down a text in the Bible. We're breaking down a Bible text and historical or biographical or geographical. We're not talking about Paul now. I believe the Holy Spirit wants us to delve deeper in the unprocessed, the hell that we're going through on a day-to-day, week-to-week. We want to give you tools, but you have to identify it in yourself first. Are you a control freak? Do you need to control the outcomes of people or other people or other do is that the question? Do you have manipulative behaviors or behavior? What's going on? Hey, Mama Pat, I see you. There you go. My chocolateness over there. I see you. So do you have to control? And then when they respond, in a negative way, that's maybe that's a toxic trait. Maybe that's how you function. Maybe that's a norm. It shouldn't be a norm. It shouldn't be. Do you gaslight? Do you guilt trip? Or are you constantly correcting? I see what you're saying, but you need to do it this way. I see what you're saying, but I still think that those are all toxic traits. I feel they are. I feel this is where the eggshell comes in. The silent alarms are tripped. These are real moments in our lives. Real moments. The toxicity is at an all-time high. Woo! I want to give you two quick things to do. Very quick, and I'll end with this. Try your level best to journal. Write down. Send a text. Send a note to yourself. Journal. Writing down your thoughts and your behaviors can help you. It can help you identify patterns and triggers. And this will help you be more objective, right? More understanding of yourself. When you can journal, identify your patterns, your triggers. Oh, I see why I responded. Oh, I did respond that way. I do remember doing it. That's what I do to myself. With a smile, because there's grace there now. I'm like, oh, I did it again. Oh, I overstepped my boundaries. Oh, I corrected her or him or them, and I shouldn't have. Oh, I gave my opinion. Oh. I'm identifying triggers in myself. I identify how I put something out there and they changed, they shifted. I can tell they were, I made them uncomfortable. I caused what I said, my reaction. God, I did it again. Right? Identifying patterns and triggers. You can give yourself a more objective understanding to yourself. I did it again. You know, I was as I worked, I'll never forget, I had to lead in my residency. I had to lead group, and in group at times I kept saying we. I kept identifying as we. And in the group and in my training, that was always corrected. That was always, no, you're talking for yourself. You're not talking for me. Or, my group had that. This was one of the skill sets that we use to help individuals identify themselves, right? And I kept using we as we come together when I was in charge of the group at that moment. But the objective was for me to speak for me, what I was feeling, what I desired, what I was going to pray, what I was going to ask for. That was the objective. It was about me asking. So I had to look at, why do I kept saying we? And whenever I led with we, I was like, okay, let me adjust that. Let me fix that. But I had a conscience. That word WE was a problem to the group because I wasn't speaking for the group. I was speaking for me. I'm saying all that to say that when I realized what I was doing, I did then rather took it all in and I traced it back to why I kept saying we. Because I was one of the people in the resident that had 25, 26 years of pastoring. So when I went in to talk, I spoke for we. I kept saying we. When Pastor Joel, Lamisha, Marshana, Ryan, the people that I was in the group with did not want me to speak for them. And I had to counter trace as to why I kept saying we. Because I'm always standing in the gap and praying for a people, a congregation. So it wasn't a bad thing. I just had to trace it back. Oh, okay. That's why. And when I explained that to the group, they understood it more because there were people in my group who've never pastored, never, ever, they were able to see because I was always interceding and interceding for someone. Father, we come together right now. So that was it. But this group that I was around helped me to understand the power of boundaries, talking for myself and not for them, identifying what's going on in me, why I said we, right? And the we at times can be offensive and not knowing it. So it helped me. I was able to chase it, give myself grace, able to put it out there in the atmosphere. So I received grace from my colleagues. And that's the power of self-confronting. When you own it, I promise you, people around you will give you grace, or especially if you're in love and you're dealing with a competent mate. They'll give you grace when you own it. But you have to own it, not gaslight. Gaslight, that was gaslighting a lot. But I'm grateful for the grace to see and to own and not to run. All right. Listen, everybody, I'm so grateful to you. I'm grateful for you being in this session. We're 3-4 minutes over, and I want to keep it at a minimum. We're going to have a great day, a great week. This is still Rosh Hashanah to our Jewish brothers and sisters. Shana Tova to every one of you. Shana Tova. Did I say Shana Tova? That is the Happy New Year and to our Jewish brothers and sisters. And so, listen, make it a great day, everyone. We are moving. This Sunday is Victory Sunday, where we're moving into all Nike. The next 2 weeks, we are having Nike Sunday. So wear your Nikes. All right. Get your victory on your feet. Listen, I love y'all. We'll be back here tomorrow night in our midweek or our Bible study and fire service and fire gathering online. All right. I love y'all. Have an amazing day. Thank you for your participation. I hope you allow yourself to give the grace to deal with your problems, your problematic part of you, if this complies to you. All right. Blessings to you. Be well.